to welcome the CCM's Executive Director, Carolyn Hyslop, and the Curator, Jeremy Ward. Please join us at the stage.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Really excited to be here. I'm Carolyn, as you figured out. We have this guy over here.
Oh, I'm
Who's
Jeremy.
that?
I'm Jeremy, curator at the Canoe Museum. We've been here a few years now, giving updates.
Like 4 or 5 or 10,
Yeah.
not sure.
Yeah.
This has been a long time coming. And we're really excited that this is actually the symposium where we will be shortly opening a brand new canoe museum for you.
And by shortly, that means about 11 weeks, which we can tell you in hours and minutes if you ask. I want to have a quick question here. How many of you, for starters, have seen us give a, hey, new canoe museum is happening, here's an update?
Ooh, oh, I'm impressed.
And how many of you have come to Peterborough to see us in our former outboard motor factory?
Oh, such a beautiful spot.
Yeah, about 40%.
Nice.
That's good. That just helps us sort of guide what we're going to do.
Yeah, we don't want to sort of rebuild the story for you, but we also want to make sure that people are leaving here with a good sense of where we've come from and where we're going.
So, and for those of you who haven't visited us or haven't seen us before, very quickly, maybe in about 8 sentences here, the Canoe Museum is a really quirky, awesome, bizarre, crazy, ambitious project that began over 60 years ago. The idea of the canoe being a central theme to a collection that would give us a complex, diverse portrait of the passion that is in this room and indeed around the world, in some way to share to a much wider audience. And we've been working with this now for 2 decades thereabouts, or a bit longer, in a what used to be, ironically, an outboard motor factory, sitting on top of trichloroethylene in great quantities. This is a carcinogenic degreaser. And we're about 3.5 kilometers from the nearest body of water. So with the largest watercraft collection in the world, I'm grateful, actually, Alex. We should just say,
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Why don't you do it?
Well, I was supposed to start and thank Alex and Erica and the rest of the volunteer team, and the Liste family and all of the folks that helped to make this happen. This is an honor to be here, and it's an honor to be able to share the updates. And you're always so welcoming. So
Thank you,
thank you, Alex. Thank you, Erica. This is a project of passion, right? And much like the Canoe Museum, it is very much a project of passion. And you're going to see a little bit about that today. All right, so we have been on this journey to build a new waterfront home for the Canoe Museum for about as long as I've been involved in the museum. And we've had a few fits and starts, as many of you know. And the last time we gathered as a group in 2020, about 2 or 3 weeks after this symposium, where we announced to all of you with such love that we're opening and we're starting we're groundbreaking in October, and then boom, we had COVID, and for us at the museum, we were also faced with really extreme contamination in the groundwater, same contaminant as the old museum has, and we had to do a complete rethink on what the Canoe Museum needed to be, and we had a very short period of time to find a new location, keep our government and private funding intact, and transfer this whole project and keep the momentum and the hope and the spirit alive, and our commitments to so many of you and so many volunteers and donors and members across the country that wanted to see this project happen. And so it was within 2020 that we actually were able to find another location, and by December of 2020, thankfully, we were able to announce that we had found this particular property. And this is still in Peterborough. It's on a lake, which is fantastic for a canoe museum. It was able to fit a building that we needed. We had to do a complete rethink on what the Canoe Museum needed to look like, the design and the intent. But we were always grounded in those values of the collection comes first, a little bit more than 55 canoes and kayaks, and maybe less than 700. I don't know. Jeremy does not tell me how many canoes and kayaks we actually have in the collection. I don't even think he
Jeremy
knows.
doesn't even know.
No.
I didn't.
No, I bet some of his, they're probably personal watercraft that are at the Canoe Museum. I don't know, Anna. I have a feeling you're going to be very surprised when the Canoe Museum needs to get rid of its new location, of its old location. Anyhow, this is our new property. This is on the the east side of Little Lake in Peterborough. So it is about 1,200 feet of water of shoreline. 5-acre parcel of land, and the coolest thing is we've got the Trans-Canada Trail running right through the property. So we're not only a water trail, but then we have that active transportation right on the property. We're also adjacent to both, to the north, Parks Canada's Trent Severn Waterway headquarters facility, which isn't really going anywhere, as well as the canal. The opening of the Trent Severn Waterway opens right up at the north, so on your way up to Lakefield and beyond. Georgian Bay, way beyond. And then south, Beavermead, which is a municipal park. So, and then across the lake is a cemetery. So in terms of like future development and the impacts to the property, we are surrounded by recreation and parks, and it's actually quite ideal. We landed at the right spot. We're very lucky. Yeah. And here's our waterfront. Part of the whole move is to get people out on the water, which all of you understand intuitively, inherently. And so with a watercraft collection of this significance, it's great to build that context, but ultimately we want people to be as inspired as you are to get out and build their own connections. And so these are the docks, the boardwalk that we put in, and then future docks will be attached to both the left and then the main point, making sure that we've got accessibility built into the plan. So if you're in a chair and you need to get into a canoe or a kayak, you can do so from our big T-dock. And the little dock on the side will also have a Voyager canoe attached to it most of the paddling season, so people who are maybe not so confident in their own little tandem canoe can hop into a big Voyager canoe and go out for a guided tour. And that lovely man, Peter, that many of you have met at the table, he is our programs manager, and he's going to be, Canoe Museum and Technology.
No, give me a reset.
So Peter is heading up all of our outdoor programming, and part of the whole Canoe Museum redevelopment is to think about this place as a big house, both the canoes and the kayaks in the collection, but then the whole outdoor campus as an extension. And so we view it as a place of learning. So if you're outside or you're inside, the whole space is really set up for people to start to find their own connection and their own inspiration. So this is our canoe house here. So this is our point location for all the outdoor programming. And of course, you can't have a canoe museum without a good campfire circle outside. So neat thing about this, there's lots of folks here that have seen the old museum. And so there was a Bill Mason exhibition in the old museum, and there were big, beautiful boulders. Do you remember those that were sort of marking the edge of the exhibit?
Not fake rocks.
No, they were real, they're really heavy. So we were like, well, we're not going to buy boulders. We need to move the boulders over to the new museum. Sort of a crazy idea, but it was important to bring some of the old museum to the new museum. So our beautiful team there were like 6 of them, figured out all the lifting, and a little forklift was involved and some dollies, and the boulders got onto a flatbed and over to the new museum, placed, and they're sort of starting up the campfire circle here, and then we've got them placed around the waterfront. A little bit of old museum and the new museum.
Yeah. Being a non-government and rather frugal and thrifty with a few scraped knees in our history makes us very good recyclers, and therefore highly sentimental about things like this, right?
They're really nice rocks.
And what you also don't see from the site on in the picture on the right is there used to be a bit of a woodlot right there, and this was mostly white ash trees, most of which had succumbed to the emerald ash borer. And so when we were clearing the construction area for the building, we marked the best logs and have had them milled up, and they've been air drying now 2 years. They're down to about 12% humidity for any woodworkers in the room. So we started using that timber in the new museum for interior stair treads and all kinds of other things. And if you sign up for our charcuterie board or paddle making workshops, you may be using white ash timber that was cut from our site.
2017, this is Chuck Commanda, and Chuck has had a great long history with the canoes, 2017 when he first did the canoe build at our place. And then this is last summer, 2023, when Chuck came back to the new Canoe Museum's location to launch one of the builds that he's just done in Peterborough. And we've had a long history with Chuck, as well as Chuck's grandparents, William and Mary Commanda, and it was a real honor. Chuck really wanted to see one of his builds birthed at the new Canoe Museum's location, so we made sure that was part of its birthing.
It's amazing now that we're just about to open how many dozens or hundreds of canoes, brand new canoes, will be birthed or launched at this same canoe slip. So amazing to have Chuck be the first in one and the promise of so many more. As we were getting into the details of the design of the construction of this building, one of the opportunities was to change the fret pattern on the glass, that keeps the songbirds from ending up at the bottom of the windows, and change the fret pattern, the usual dot matrix, into something special. And what you can't see and what you will see overtly throughout your whole experience in the campus and the interior facility of the museum is our exploring our connections to water, whether it is the management of runoff from the roofs to the underground tanks or the rain gardens or the construction wetland to clean the waters before they get into the adjacent creek and lake. Or it is, for instance, here, a moment we've given our cartographer, an amazing gentleman named Chris Brackley with As the Crow Flies. He does all of the maps for Canadian Geographic. And we've given Chris 3 real moments that I think would resonate with this group. One of them is the fret pattern here. We wanted it very deliberately to start you, given the shape of the pane of glass, we started you at the bottom of the pane, local waters. The Finger Lakes were mentioned earlier, just south of Lake Ontario. You can see them in reverse from inside there. But then ranging north, just given the shape of this, takes us right up to Hudson Bay. And you can trace these waters. It's an incredibly powerful message right there as you enter the museum. Something then we're going to explore in our exhibit hall, 20 feet across, of the connections right across Canada, North America, from Alaska to Greenland, and then a globe that he's worked with us on that does the canoe routes and moving fresh water around the world in a way that you've never seen. So there's Chris posing under the new window. It's a real sort of architectural moment that we're proud of. Here we are in our atrium. Here we are in the atrium.
Another moment where we wanted to make sure that this facility is welcoming you with authentic materials. So if that, in this case, the Douglas fir columns and the cross-laminated timber panels. So you're welcomed by wood the moment you walk in the door. You're also going to be welcomed by the smell of wood smoke. So we've built at the back a beautiful fireplace with wonderful real stone. And the intent is, again, to connect you back to these natural elements and sort of dig up those sensory memories that we all have of being on the water and being on a lake at a campsite. It's a bit of a construction zone at the moment.
Yeah. Although every day, we're now into the race where it's starting, that machine's gone, that tarp is down, and it slowly reveals itself in its final. Something that I appreciate a great deal is the acoustic treatment. Complaint we've often heard from people is when you have 30 kids coming in from being off the water or coming off a school bus, and you have a coach load of folks coming in for a tour and the reflected sound off glass. And so we've given a lot of effort and consideration to capturing the reflected sound and doing that. But more importantly, right above there is our Research and Knowledge Center, and 2 wonderful rooms in this space, seen right here. On the right is the Reading and Work Room, named in memory of George Luste, And then here is the storage room for the print materials in the compact shelving. So 2 spaces that this association, this group here has helped support the naming of. We're really honored to see that coming together finally to welcome you in just a few weeks. We're a small team. We are, what are we, 11?
12.
12. And we moved the entire collection that's going on to exhibit in within 10 days, working with a crane operator. It was a surgical, highly choreographed effort, all safely executed. We had to do this in 10 days because there was briefly a hole in the side of the building to get them in, that we could do such a concerted move-in. Now here's another offering that you'll see when you come into the new museum, and this is the entire rest of the collection. I know we've done back warehouse tours, not normally open to the public, but we'll be giving guided tours regularly in this space. This is a room with 550 canoes to begin with a bit of room for growth on the racking. There's another 120 upstairs, so you do the math of what we're currently caring for, and it'll be close. And this is our wonderful team involved with this. On the left is Beth, and then MJ, and then Dane and Nicholas. This is the team that we work with who've really done an incredible job moving the largest watercraft collection in the universe, about 3.5 kilometers. Just a glimpse inside of our exhibits. We deliberately did not feature many photographs. It's looking incredible right now because we want to save that for your visit. But here's Katrina Van Week doing a big drop. And then Frank Wolf was mentioned earlier over there in these murals. An incredible space where we've brought perspectives of different people from all backgrounds together to share their stories. And if ever I could describe what the museum in some ways is a manifestation of, I think it is right here in this room. It's a gathering of story. It is a mirror held back to say, look how diverse and complex and awesome this passion is that's in this room. And when you put it together for a symposium or in a museum, something truly special can happen.
And not everybody, like many in this room, will have an opportunity to hit really big northern rivers or be up in the Arctic or do a big circumnavigation. And so we wanted to be able to bring people to some of those really special places in the exhibition hall. And to be able to do that, we're going to have to use film. And so we built this tent. Well, actually, Deluxe built this tent. We wanted to put a wall tent. Of course, we need a wall tent in the new museum's exhibitions. And then how to make that wall tent a little bit more magical is we're going to have a beautiful high-end slideshow happening in the back with featuring a number of significant films that are going to take people to a number of places they may never be able to get to. And so that's one of these exhibitions we're really looking forward to. It'll also be a super cool play spot for kids because there's going to be some great poofs and a little bit of a stove and a pot set and a couple of things for the little ones to get into.
You guys know this person? Craig McDonald. Bar none, the most knowledgeable person about snowshoe and winter travel across North America that lives today. And I work directly with the Collections Committee. I'm delighted to just bring an update that we've come to an agreement with Craig that his entire historic snowshoe collection will be brought into the Canadian Canoe Museum. Yes, we're doing that because it is such an important counterpart to the story of the canoe in one collection. So Craig, his research and what an amazing person.
And part of our journey, of course, is making sure that we're continuing to honor and respect the use of the pictograph that the Canoe Museum uses as part of its logo. So every year, for many, many years now, we've been traveling up to Pineridge Lake to visit friends at Fort William First Nation to make sure that those relationships are strong and that the participation in the Canoe Museum is there and evident. And so on Wednesday, as a great example of the kind of crazy things we're up to, we're heading back up there for hopefully a snowshoe onto Pineridge Lake if the ice allows. And we'll be visiting with a number of friends and doing a presentation at Lakehead as part of that. But these are really important relationships, and I know Jeremy mentioned it earlier, but this whole project is built on relationships. Right from the beginning to the trust that people have had in us, to carry this vision forward to today, where we're sitting with you, to moments at the rocks, and even to Craig trusting us with his snowshoe collection, and soon will be a book that our friend James, many of you know James Raffin, he's working with us on a book about traditional winter travel, working with Craig's long history and research.
So looking ahead to our opening, this is sort of what our daily check-in looks like, and this is just the milestones and big deliverables between now and Chris.
May! Yay! It's for real, really happening. For real. For real. So that's January of last year, and this is January of this year. And so May 12th is really going to be, so that's Sunday, May 12th. That is probably the most public day, community day of grand opening weekend. There are a number of preceding events that have different groups that are invited to them. We're balancing capacities, but from May 11th, 12th onwards, the Canoe Museum is going to be back up and running again, and we'll be doing summer camps and artisan workshops and paddle making courses. We'll have the Canoe Museum open to the public again, and I'm really hoping, maybe a less day lecture, really hoping that we'll be able to see you.
And so if you are watching that weekend and you're wondering, because we've had a pandemic and we shut down our membership and you don't know, and we've been asked this already, do you know where I'm at with my, anyway, the best way to keep in touch or come to the May 12th event is to renew your membership now, because you'll get secret intel on how to pre-register and get in, because we will be staging this just to make sure that it's a comfortable experience for everybody. So that's a great way to be connected if we've lost track of each other, or just watch through the social feeds or our website or however else you do, or just bang on the window.
Don't bang on the window. No.
Okay. I think that's
Thank
us.
you very much, everybody. Can't wait to have you.